defensive coordinator who, in an anonymous quote to The Athletic, said the following: "If he has to pass to win the game, they ain't winning the game. He's so unique as an athlete, and he's a really good football player. But I don't care if he wins the league MVP 12 times. I don't think he'll ever be a 1 as a quarterback. He'll be a 1 as a football player, but not as a quarterback. So many games come down to 2 minutes, and that is why they have a hard time advancing, even when they are good on defense." So there's a lot here. I think we react to the quote, and then we move on to the contract. RC, what do you think of that?
Stupid people say stupid things, right? And stupid people can say stupider things when nobody's going to know who the stupid person was. Like, what does that mean? We are all football players, but the reason that Ed Reed is the Hall of Famer at safety, because that's the position he played. It doesn't matter how you play it. It's the fact that that's the position you play. You take the snap, every single snap, you touch the football, and you either throw it, you run it, but you make a play. And when you play very well, and if anybody else in the world that played quarterback won 12 MVPs, he would be a 1. That's how it happens. That's how you become a 1 at the quarterback position, by winning MVPs. And he's already done it. I am so tired of people make-believing and saying, oh, Lamar's not this, Lamar's not that, because it looks different. Stop saying dumb stuff. And if you're going to say stupid stuff, I say stupid stuff sometimes. I put my name on it. That is ridiculous. And a ridiculous person can do ridiculous things when he can hide behind ridiculous quotes that say anonymous. That's dumb, man.
It's actually not just dumb, which it is. The idea that a player could win league MVP 12 times and not be a 1, I agree with you, is stupid. It's also cowardly.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, there's nothing more cowardly, and Dan Graziano, you and I were talking about this earlier today. Anonymous reporting has been the backbone of American of international journalism forever. Deep Throat brought down the president of the United States because he thought it was something that was incredibly important to do. Giving anonymous quotes about how you don't think a football player is really good, I guarantee you this is a defensive coordinator who fancies himself a very tough person, but I'm putting my name on this. If you're giving that quote anonymously to a reporter, you're a coward. So if you'd like to call in and talk about your opinions on this show, we would be glad to have you, assuming you're don't have to do it with one of those blank things where they change your voice so you know who you are, because you're giving like classified information about the United States government. It's ridiculous.
But not information. See, okay, the Watergate example, right? If Deep Throat had just been saying to Bob Woodward, you know, I really don't like Nixon. I don't think he's doing a good job.
That's right.
That would not have been useful. He was giving him information.
We could win 6 wars. He still wouldn't be a top 4 president, no matter what.
If you are getting information anonymously, then that's worth the filter, right? That's worth granting anonymity. If I can provide information about something that's going to happen. But the opinion? Like that, I don't get that. I try to steer away from it. Am I perfect? I don't know. Have I ever done this? I don't know. Probably. But I try to steer away from, as a reporter, putting anonymous opinion out there, because you don't know. Is this person doesn't like Lamar Jackson? Is it a person who has some sort of, you know, so you have to be careful with this. And in this age of aggregation, and look, it comes from a piece where the reporter who I know and like and admire, it talked to a lot of people. So he didn't put this one quote out there, but a person who has some sort of, you know, so you have to be careful with this. And in this age of aggregation, and look, it comes from a piece where the person who has some sort of, you know, so you have to be careful with this. And in this age of aggregation, and look, it comes from a piece where the reporter who I know and like and admire, it talked to a lot of people. So he didn't put this one quote out there, but it gets out there and everybody knows that. So unfortunately, and then you get to the content of it, right? Like you play golf, Greeny, I mean, the card doesn't ask how, right? It doesn't matter if you chip in for birdie or if you make a long putt. Like, it doesn't matter if you're winning games, right? You say, oh, if they have to pass to win, then it's not going to work. You know, it's like saying if they had to shoot Marvel movies in black and white, they wouldn't have made as much money. Well, they didn't, right? I mean, there's other ways to win. There's other ways to do it.
Great point.
I don't know what you want out of Lamar Jackson.
Is a good one. It's like saying, well, look, I don't care if he makes 12 birdies. He still didn't play well today. It doesn't make any sense at all. Go ahead, Mike T. What do you think?
Look, he's a young, ascending, high-character player who's an MVP. I agree 1,000% with what you guys said. And you go by what we see. He is a winning quarterback that almost every franchise would like to have, and they have to get a deal done.
So how? So then let's get to the contract. Okay. Let's work our way then to the contract. They're showing up. He doesn't have the deal. Now what?
I call him into the office and say, hey, look, we appreciate you're here. we are not going to put you in harm's way. Not that as a quarterback in preseason you're going to be in harm's way, but we're going to do everything reasonably we can to avoid soft tissue injuries, any sort of contact. The way you've handled it is exceptional. It's beyond reproach. Go to meetings, stay in great condition, and we're going to do everything we can to try and get this deal done before the regular season.
But then when does that change, I guess, Barry? Yeah. Because there's a moment in time in which you shift from that to, well, now he's going to play the season without the contract.
So it's the Tuesday of the regular season week where you have to now get
Not until then.
Not until then. And then the other thing I'm saying to him and his support system is you should go buy a disability policy because in this day and age, we're talking about $200 to $300 million.
Yeah.
And if you're going to play on the
unanswered questions, particularly in Cleveland, surrounding that man, Deshaun Watson, and a possible suspension. As of now, there is still no news as we bring in our Jake Trotter, who covers the Browns for us. He is live from training camp, and he joins us now with the very latest. Jake, what is happening right now in Cleveland?
Well, Mike, there's been this expectation here with the Browns that they would hear a decision from Judge Sue L. Robinson before the start of training camp. But with training camp only a day away now, there's still no indication of when that decision is going to come. In the meantime, Deshaun Watson, who reported for camp last week, he's been studying the playbook, watching film, taking part in passing drills outside without pads. And yesterday, we even saw him full uniform cross the street behind me to take part in a photo shoot. You know, as for the Browns, the rest of the players report today. Training camp officially begins on Wednesday, and that will be our first opportunity to talk to the players, including potentially Deshaun Watson himself, Mike.
All right, so there's a holding pattern there, Jake. Thank you. Stay close by in case there's any news. We'll certainly come back to you immediately. In the meantime, let me come back to the table here, and Dan Graziano, I will start with you. That's the Browns side of this. How about the league side of this? What do we know?
It's just like Jake said, everybody's waiting. This is a new process under the new CBA with this discipline officer who's a third-party arbitrator. It's been over 3 weeks since the hearing, but because this has never happened before, we don't know how long to expect her to take to rule. So it could happen today. I mean, it could happen during our show. It could happen, next week. We don't know. But the Browns have been hopeful. The league has been hopeful. Deshaun Watson has been hopeful it would happen before training camp. And as Jake said, they're running low on time if that is, in fact, going to be the case.
So, RC, you're a player there. You report today. You begin training camp activities tomorrow, and this is hanging over everything. What's your perspective on it all?
Well, I think it's difficult because everyone starts a football season, and you want to know how many games you're going to win. You want to know how good your team can be. And obviously, if you're the Cleveland Browns and you now have Deshaun Watson, you know you're better with him than without. But you don't know how long you're going to be without him. If you are an offensive player, and a wide receiver, a running back, a lineman, you don't know who's going to be your quarterback and for how long. And I think that's more of the problem than just what's going on with Deshaun Watson or distractions in the locker room from answering questions. That's not what it's about. What it's about is what product can we put on the field and when do we get our quarterback? And I think other than that, this isn't really something that has to be talked about in the locker room. People aren't asking Deshaun Watson about what he did, what he went through, or what's going on. They're waiting on the NFL to make their ruling so they can move forward playing football.
Yeah, there's nothing about this that is a surprise. I guess that's the Browns went into it knowing this was going to happen. All the players knew coming in. And maybe we thought that there would be some resolution to it by this point, but it is what it is. In the meantime, Mike T, you brought up something interesting on our call this morning about the way they may handle Watson in the preseason.
Well, you have to assume that he's going to miss at least 4 to 6 games. So from a team standpoint, you have to get Jacoby Brissett ready to go. But from a football standpoint for Deshaun Watson, he didn't play last year, so he hasn't taken meaningful snaps since December of 2020. He actually has to go play in a preseason game, which is some ways unimaginable, but you want to get him ready as well for when he comes back. And then, oh, by the way, guys, you're one Jacoby Brissett hit away from, is it Josh Rosen playing the game? So now it gets very complicated. How do you get your team ready to go? I think you have to think it's Jacoby Brissett and then work from there.
And just in case people who are watching don't know, we don't always assume, if a player is suspended, he can participate in training camp practices and preseason games, just in case there's anybody out there who is unclear on that.